I'm normally not an extensive iPhone user, which made this review all the more interesting for me, and I think will also make it more interesting for you.
Hey, I'm Brian and this is the iPhone XR.
PureVPN not only encrypts your traffic so you can browse more privately and securely, it also bypasses geo-blocking, so you can enjoy Netflix US or your country's sports coverage anywhere in the world. And the best thing is that you can try it risk-free for 31 days and get full access starting at only a couple of bucks a month. So check out PureVPN at the link in the video description. The build quality of the XR is of course flawless, as you would expect from Apple. A beautiful glass sandwich with soft aluminium sides that is also IP67 water resistant, but I think they could have done a better job at matching the color of the aluminium with the color of the back glass. Other than that, I really like the bright color options. The coral or salmon color you made me choose looks pretty nice. On the frame I'm still a fan of the mute switch, and of course the only thing on the bottom is the lightning port, which everyone wishes Apple would switch out for USB-C, and the speaker. This one forms a stereo pair with the earpiece to create some really loud and full sound. The speakers are truly very good, with good stereo separation, better than the Pixels I'd say. Just as important for the media experience as audio though is of course the display quality, probably the most controversial point of the XR. The display resolution of 1792 by 828 on 6.1 inches is too low for the price point, just straight up. Apple had to do this to not cut into the XS's sales any further, but that doesn't make this excusable when making a 1080p wouldn't really have cost them more money. That said, resolution isn't everything, and when you don't specifically look for it, you won't notice a difference, especially when you're coming from an older iPhone, because the display isn't worse, it's still a lot better. Colors pop, best-in-class viewing angles, and contrast is great. This is also thanks to the, for an LCD, very deep blacks. What you might be missing is 3D touch. This display is not pressure sensitive, but it has been replaced by a long press in a lot of places and works together with the amazing Taptic engine, the best vibration motor out there, to create a substitute called haptic touch that most will probably be indifferent about. To end with the display, yes, the black border is a bit thick, it's not an OLED and I wish it was, but the display is good enough to where it doesn't take anything away from the experience. It even adds in some ways. Also because of this display, battery life is really stellar, unbelievable actually. I got up to 10 hours of screen on time without a problem. This is really a 2-day phone, that's twice the battery life of the Pixel 3. Never thought I would say that about an iPhone, and during the night on standby it doesn't lose a single percent. But what bothers me even more than them failing to include the dongle is the missing fast charger in the box, since without it charging is slow. With a fast charger it's about as quick as quick charge. Fortunately, wireless charging is present though and seems more reliable than on other phones. Another wireless technology wasn't as reliable though. My XR has a lot of trouble connecting and staying connected to Wi-Fi. Let's move to performance and software experience. The software is just so nice and fluid. This is what I already praised on Google's Pixel. No hiccups in any animations and very rare reloading of apps, something the XR does better than the Pixel, making it very enjoyable. This is of course because the A12 Bionic paired with 3GB of RAM is just complete overkill for driving this screen, but I appreciate it. What I don't appreciate are some of iOS's shortcomings though. Organizing the home screen is really cumbersome, settings from apps shouldn't be buried in the settings app, and why doesn't the phone unlock without a mandatory swipe up? Apart from this, I really enjoyed using Face ID. It's fast, reliable, and works in the dark. The best unlocking methods are the ones you don't really have to think about. Here you only have to when the phone is lying on the table. Apple's gesture navigation system is still on point, and for daily use I think the iOS versus Android debate is pretty overrated. It just works and it's a fine operating system, and that comes from me as an Android user. I couldn't care less about the ecosystem, no one uses iMessage around here and I don't have a Mac, but what I do want to highlight is Apple's amazing AR platform with genuinely useful apps like Measure and Night Sky I can only dream of on Android. AR has to do with the camera, so let's tackle that next. The camera on the back is the same 12-megapixel sensor as on the XS, only the secondary zoom camera is missing, which is a bummer but not a deal breaker in my eyes. The photos are still top-notch, great dynamic range and color. The photos look very natural, as in not heavily processed, but that does mean that they mostly lack the wow effect you get with shots from a Pixel 3. The iPhone's shots require some Google Photos magic to look as good as the Pixel's. There's also no night mode, which is unfortunate for low-light photography. The missing second camera also means that the substitute software portrait mode only allows you to have a blurred background when shooting people, not objects. I also feel like the edge detection is a bit more hit and miss than I'd like. You really want to consider the iPhone though when it comes to video recording. The 4K 60fps video shares the photos characteristics and is also nicely stabilized. And most importantly, the microphone quality is good. There's also 240fps slow motion at 1080p. Overall, I'd say the Pixel still has the slight edge in photos, but the iPhone is better for video recording.
So what do I think of the XR? Well, it's a very rounded user experience. There's nothing that stands out as missing or experience breaking. The camera is among the best, and performance and battery life are unbelievably good. Yes, the screen isn't a trade-off Apple should have made, but in day-to-day use you won't really find that it's a bad screen, because everything but resolution is that good. And what is most important is that the OLED on the XS won't be worth a €300 premium for most. And I would agree with them. It's really hard to choose between this and the Pixel 3. At this point, it basically just comes down to personal preference. If you enjoyed this video, you know which buttons to press, and don't forget to press that follow button on Twitter. I'm Brian, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.